I love this saying, the only bad workout's the one you don't do. So you got to move blood. You got to do something.
If your workout does not make you a little bit intimidated beforehand, you are probably not pushing to where you need to make the changes that you want to do.
And that is so powerful to understand. Like, just don't waste the day.
Spartans, listen up.
We need to sleep better. So how do you sleep better? Never thought about it before. And so I met Jack, I met Essentia. Pay attention to the mattress you sleep on because it's loaded with chemicals.
Recovery, cooling, and pressure relief, all in one mattress. Up to 60% more deep and REM sleep. Less inflammation, faster bounce back. No toxins, no EMFs, no BS.
My buddy Jack over at Essentia, he's kind enough to give us a code for the Spartan community. That's DECA, that's Tough Mudder, all of us. Use Spartan25, get a discount. Prioritize your sleep so you can sleep faster, you can do more burpees, you can train more, you can get healthier. When you sleep well, you live well.
Joe DeSena, CEO, founder of Spartan, host of the Hard Way podcast here. I've got my buddy Brian Alsruhe on. He is a strength and conditioning coach, but more importantly, he's a mental strength and conditioning coach, because you could lift a bunch of weight, but if your head can't get, I see it with wrestling, I see it in life, I see it with the Spartans, right? If your head can't get wrapped around whatever it is you're taking on, like, I don't care how big and strong you are, you're not getting it done. Is that a fair?
That's very fair, I would say. And thank you so much for having me on, man. Thank you for the opportunity. I truly appreciate it.
You were an actual, quote unquote, regular strength and conditioning coach for a long time.
Yes, I was for a while. And then strangely enough, I went to high school with a guy named Mike Jenkins, who was a professional strongman, right? And like, you used to watch him on like Christmas Eve and like lifting the stones in the cars if people don't know what strongman is. And he and I were really good buddies, and I was doing MMA at the time. So you mentioned wrestling and stuff like that. So like, got a big ground background and grappling background. So I was always like, man, I don't want to do strongman. All those guys are like 7 foot tall and 400 pounds. Like, I'm like 6 foot tall, like 240, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not that dude. And he's like, there's weight classes. He's like, but what you do would be awesome, because like the mix of athleticism plus strength and all those things. And I was always like, yeah, man, I'll do it someday, just kind of like placating him. And then one day, like, we separated because I went and actually got a counterterrorism job, and I kind of wasn't really around for about a decade. And then when I came back, his sponsor, Mike Jenkins' sponsor, ran into me and knew me from like my YouTube page and was like, hey, man, if you ever want to do a strongman contest, I'll sponsor you. And same thing, I just placated. I'm like, yeah, man, whatever, like maybe someday. Got this fighting thing going. Found out that I had a brain tumor, could no longer get hit in the head. Fighting was out the window. Could still do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and stuff like that, but real fighting was out the window. And we were going to get together for a Christmas party. And instead of the Christmas party on Thanksgiving morning, we ended up getting a call saying that Mike had died. And so instead of going to this Christmas party, we ended up going to his funeral. And he had like an enlarged heart and died in his sleep, and it was all very whatever, right? And so I'm sitting in this church, like sitting in this huge pew, and I'm crying. And like I'm a pretty decent sized dude, right? Like I'm not a little guy. Like I walk in a room, typically I'm one of the larger human beings. And in this room, in this funeral, I was like the smallest dude in the room, because all these strong men from all around the world came in, and like literally dudes like 7 foot tall and 400 pounds, and they're all crying just like I'm crying. We're all in there. At the time, because I had just left fighting, I was looking for like something that would like mentally push me harder. And in these people, I saw that type of intensity, the same as like fighting, except it was more with just weights, and I had always lifted weights. So I was like, let's see where we go. So yeah, because of my friend's death, that got me involved in strongman. And after that, I quit my counterterrorism job and opened a strongman gym. And now I train world champions and have a YouTube channel, and had no idea this was ever going to happen in my life.
It's so true, I guess, right? One door closes and maybe two doors open. And so here you are, you're at a funeral, never expecting to pivot from the funeral. Sad that your friend died, right? Condolences there, but what an amazing visual of a bunch of the toughest guys in the world all crying.
But like you said with the doors, like some people see hardship and immediately their brain jumps to like victim mindset of like, oh, what was me? Like, I'm going to feel sorry for myself. I deserve to fill in the blank, right? And other people see that hardship and they're like, yeah, this sucks because it's not fun, but like, this is also an opportunity. It's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity for wherever life is going to lead me next. You know what I mean?
At a very young age, I had a swimming pool cleaning business. I was very young, and I remember the kids sitting next to me in the truck. I would hear over and over, and I was just learning life. I was young. Would say, well, I haven't found what I want to do yet. I don't know if I want to school. And they had all these questions. And somehow I was very fortunate in that I understood that you just do. You may not be where you're supposed to be. You may not like but you just do. And then in doing, you find other stuff. And so here you are going to the funeral. Like, I think that the biggest risk for human beings, tell me what you think, is just sitting still, sitting on the couch, not getting out, not going to that meeting that may seem like it's not even an important meeting, or taking that phone. And then before you know it, you're somewhere else.
It's true. Like, indecision is a decision, and like, I truly believe, like, some people don't agree with this, but like, I truly believe that the only difference to who you are right now and who you're going to be 5 years from now comes down to all the little decisions that you make between now and then. And that's from like how you get up in the morning, whether you make your bed, you brush your teeth, what you eat, who you surround yourself with, what you think, what you believe, like all of those things. If you continually stack wins on top of wins, it's like putting stones in a brick or bricks in a wall, like three bricks doesn't look like much, but you put 20 bricks in every day, 5 years later, you've got a castle, right? And like, it didn't feel like you never would have set out and said, I'm going to build a castle. You're just one thing after another, right? And like, as doors open, like Gretzky said, forever ago, like, you miss 100% of shots you don't take. And so many people are like totally missing out on shots just because they're afraid of failing, or they're afraid of looking silly, or they're whatever.
Too busy,
too cool for school. At my birthday, I'll start next week. Man, now is the time, right? If you are not living right now,
because we don't know, not to sound cliche, you and I don't know if we'll be here tomorrow.
No, you don't. Look at my friend Mike Jenkins, right? Like 30 years old or something, in best shape of his life, a strongman on TV competing as an athlete, and goes to sleep one night, does not wake back up, right? He wasn't expecting that. His wife wasn't. It like that's reality, right?
So look, how do you suppose you went from, crying at that funeral, right, to competing in strong, to really understanding the human mind, to a point where folks are actually gaining value, like you're able to switch somebody on? Like, walk us through that so that then we could hopefully apply some of the stuff you've learned to our own lives.
And this is pretty pertinent because I'm doing some home projects right now, and I'm reading a book called Grit.
She's a friend of mine, Angela Duckworth. Yeah.
So far, I've absolutely loved the book. The thing is, like, as I opened up my strongman gym and started seeing people come in and do stuff, and it was the same thing with fighting, right? Like, you have some people who have all the athletic ability in the world, but they don't have the work ethic. And you have other people who are Rudy, right? Like, they don't have it, but they give you all their heart. And like, the magic happens when those two things come together. But the crazy thing about all of that is that, like, really, as I brought athletes in, like, I was expecting like some of the best people in the world, and some really good people did come, but like, it was the people who worked. And I started seeing, like, it really doesn't matter what you show up to the party with. Like, you can optimize whatever you have, and what people believe their actual limits are so far below. Like, whether it be like how much you can lift, or how far you can run, or how much you can earn in a year, or how, all of that is so underestimated, right? And so, like, as I started seeing people develop this, I was like, you know what? Like, you need to surround yourself with people who work. Like, you talk about wrestlers. Man, I don't care if they have, I own a couple businesses. I'm like, man, I don't care if you don't know anything about this. You're a wrestler, which tells me something. It tells me you learned how to work, right? Because every single wrestler I know, like, understands suffering with weight cutting, and like the conditioning and the losing on your own, and like the single sport, and like all of it, like, that builds a character in people. And I try to do the same thing through my lifting. Like, I learned what I learned through martial arts, and I took that, and kind of like Bruce Lee, like, you discard what's not useful and you keep what is. And I threw that all into coaching. And
I tell me what you think. I would say masonry people at work, because you mentioned bricks earlier, like, they know how to work, right? Contractors in general, those that work with their hands. And if you're listening out there, and if one of your excuses, tell me if you agree with this, is like, I'm not talented, I don't know, I don't have the education. Like, if you work as an owner of a bit, that's all we want. Is somebody that grabs the broom before you ask them to.
100%. And it's Musashi, Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest swordsman of all time. Like he talks about like how doing things at first is always hard, right? Like no matter what you do, like for the people who are sitting on the couch saying, I could never run a race, I could never lift those weights, I could never do that. Like you're not being asked to, right? You're trying to get to the mailbox. That's where you're at today. And then the mailbox plus 2 steps. And then, you know what I mean? But it's about consistently putting in the work, putting those bricks in the wall. Because like we said, like no one becomes an overnight success. Like you're a successful dude, right? And if somebody's like, oh, he had it so easy, he kind of fell into this, that I'm like, bro, you didn't see the decade of sleepless nights and hard work that went before one day it started growing. And then it slowly went like this. But people were like, oh no, he was instantly like, he had it easy.
And then the fucking wall falls down because of a storm and you got to rebuild the whole fucking thing.
And everyone's looking at you, right? Like, why can't, and that's really life. The beautiful thing though, is that you can take physical stuff, like whether it be a race or lifting or whatever. And like a lot of physical activities allow you an incremental measurement to build mental toughness, right? Like, because like, if you find out that like your mom has cancer, God forbid anyone's mom has cancer, right? Like you find out your mom has cancer, that's like a bucket of cold water down your back, right? Like you can't prepare for that. That is 900 pounds squat on your back. And they're like, go, give what you got, right? Like you have to deal with that. And in those times, I try to break things down into smaller digestible parts, right? Like you don't have to run 20 more miles. You have to run 10 more steps, and then you can reassess and decide what you're going to do. And then after those 10, like break everything down. You eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? But like in any type of physical endeavor where you're able to push yourself physically, then you start testing yourself mentally. Because really what's happening is your body wants to quit and your body's trying to make decisions that your mind needs to make, right? Like when you're at mile 12 of 15 and you're like, I've hit a wall, I can't do it, right? Like your body is telling you things, is trying to make decisions that your mind needs to make. In lifting, in life, like you can always put 2.5 pounds on the bar and see if you can do it, right? And you see those incremental growth. But like you build that mental toughness in these situations and you create like cairns or like milestones in your life that you look back on and you say, you know what, I just got a phone call that my mom had cancer and like, I don't think I can get through this, but I also didn't think I could run miles 16, 17, 18, 19, right? But I did. And I did it one at a time. And so a lot of people don't agree that like you can build mental toughness in the gym, but I am 100% a believer of it. That's why like SEALs, Special Forces, like all those guys, they push them so hard because you can learn so much about your brain and how to control your emotions and everything through pushing yourself mentally or physically to places that you mentally do not want to go.
We've discussed the hard way. We understand the scientific benefits. We understand the mental benefits. We understand the unexplainable benefits of doing the hard things. I want you to use the code word podcast and sign up for something hard with us. Because when you get a date on the calendar, your entire being is forced to go to bed early, to wake up early, to put the device down, to not do the drinking. Use the code word podcast. Get signed up for something hard. We care about changing lives here. We don't care about your money. Code word podcast. Get signed up. Let's go.
No, when I think about any of the content we put out as a company or the books or whatever, I say to myself sometimes, where did I learn that? Like, where did I get this from? And I got it from those moments at the mailbox where I just wanted to stop running. And you have a lot of time to think and you fight with yourself and you have these internal debates. And so I think it's a great exercise to your point. You don't necessarily have to go to a psychologist. You don't need to read a ton of books. You just need to go out and do something hard to the point where you don't want to do it anymore and then somehow get 2 more steps. And in that process, you'll get a little tougher. But tell me what you think of this. A friend of mine who is the opposite of you and I in that he prefers in less physical tension. He prefers, but he'll read a book a day. Right? And so he's saying, hey, Joe, the physical stuff's easy for you. Why don't you do something that's not so easy? And that's true. I don't want to read a book a day. Right? Just like he doesn't want to go for a run.
That's why it's so important for like all of us, right? And I'm speaking in generalizations here, but most of the people probably listening to this have a very strong like warrior side of their personality, right? Like they're like, I will go until I'm dead. Like I'm never going to quit. I'm never going to, right? But then there's the other side that needs to be just like Musashi I mentioned earlier, like best swordsman of all time, also an amazing calligrapher. And he believed that doing one helped him with the other, right? And so like you need to balance the warrior with the poet. And there needs to be other sides of you. Like you need to be a scholar, but you also need to be a dreamer. You need to be, it all needs to go together. And that balance is what really makes greatness happen.
I wrote a book with a guy named Ben Askren, who's a somewhat of a famous, and we wrote it last year, published it. It's called Extreme Balance. If you get a chance, I think you'd really like the book because it is that it was Ben's idea. It is that idea of like, hey, you want to crush your opponent, but you also got to respect your opponent. So there are these paradoxes in life that you've got to somehow, right? Like just practice the sword, but no, do some calligraphy, like you said. Like
don't swing a sword if you can't like play a song or write, you know what I mean? Like you have to be able to do other things. And that truly, like my company, my gym is called NEVERsate Gym. People always call it NEVERstate, but it's NEVERsate, right? As in never satiated. And people always take that as like never satisfied or never whatever. But for me, it's also like, yes, like always be striving to get better physically. But like if you're injured and you can't get better physically, then like get better mentally. If you can't get better mentally, get better spiritually, emotionally. Like a person is like the spokes on a bicycle wheel, right? And if anytime one of those spokes, like you have physical spoke, an emotional spoke, a social spoke, a relationship spoke, right? And if at any given time one of those is warped or out of balance or whatever, your ride's going to get a lot rougher. That's just reality, right? So it's about keeping that balance in life, and that's how we roll the easiest.
I love it. And so one of the gyms or the main gym is in Maryland.
Yeah, it's in Maryland.
And now you're gonna open one in Colorado, or what's your plan in Colorado?
I don't know. In Colorado, I'm actually considering doing retreats because now that literally within a year, I will be a licensed therapist. So, and for me, like there's when men especially think of mental health, they get a picture, right? And it's a dude in a sweater vest talking very quietly and like that. I don't look like that. That's not me, right? And so I offer a much different style, and it's not only about mental health and like showing up the best father, the best husband, the best whatever, right? Like it's about all that, but it's also about like optimizing your mind because we both know like as an athlete, there are plenty of athletes who go to a point physically and then they start breaking mentally. And when they break mentally, the physical, that plateaus, right? They cannot get past that if they cannot learn how to optimize their thinking and build their mental toughness and stress inoculation, all those things. And so literally a lot of what I do is coaching athletes, normal people, just how to like make the most of what you got. It's just like, yeah, I'm never going to be an Olympic swimmer, right? But I can become a very good swimmer if I spend the time swimming. And same thing with like your mental health. Like everyone thinks like, yeah, man, the gym is my therapist. And I'm like, yeah, to an extent it is, right? You can get a lot of things out, but like the gym's not helping you with like how your dad treated you. And that's why you're treating your wife that way. And like, you know, there's different things that need to be optimized that people are just like, well, I'm doing good enough. It's fine. It's fine. I'm like, fine is good.
Well,
but
because like we said, because they're comfortable in the gym.
We all get kind of comfortable in these little like ditches and these ruts, but the only difference between a rut and a grave is the depth. Right? Because you're sitting in this same spot and you're going to be there forever unless you start doing things that scare you. If you're not doing something that scares you every single day, you are not living.
You're not growing for sure.
Absolutely. Right? Even your workout, like if your workout does not make you a little bit intimidated beforehand, if you are probably not pushing to where you need to make the changes that you want to do. I've
boiled it down to 30 burpees is like our signature number. We you can't get an obstacle done. You've got to do 30 burpees. And I've boiled it down for me personally even, and I've done some long distance events. I've suffered for long periods of time. Like I'm going to do 30 burpees as fast as I can. And I pause like, this is going to suck. You know, I mean, for you, it could be like, hey, just do a heavy squat or whatever. Like, right? Like it doesn't have to be a long duration to suck and help you grow.
But you need to get to the point where you don't want to do it.
I love this saying, the only bad workout's the one you don't do. I mean, it could be 20 push-ups, but you got to move blood. You got to do something. What are you working on right now besides the Colorado trip and you got any books planned? What are you working on?
I just released my latest book.
Yeah, what's the name of the book?
That was 30-minute muscle. It's 30-minute workouts because so many people don't have time these days. And I'm like you just said, like, it does not need to be an hour and a half in the gym. You don't need to, like, you can smash yourself. Like, if anyone has access to a heavy bag or burpees, right? Do 30 burpees as fast as you possibly can and tell me it was easy.
Today is going to pass. 2 years ago, right? It's going to go by with or without you. So you might as well get the job done, because I remember when I learned that, and that is so powerful to understand. Like, just don't waste the day.
Most people so underestimate what they can actually get done in a day if they really sat down and made a list of things you wanted to do and were like knocking them out. Like, when you have organization and time management, like, what you can actually accomplish is so ridiculous if you actually use the hours.
All right, we said a lot of stuff here. Let's boil it down to 3 things, just as a recap for those listeners, folks watching it. 3 things everybody should do to kind of level up their life.
Realize that you're in a lot more control, right? Like I said, like, the only difference between who you are now and who you're going to be 5 years from now, it comes down to all little decisions. And every single one of those decisions is either moving you closer to or further away from the person that you want to be. Number 2, one of my sayings that, like, is on all my t-shirts and all my stuff is die empty. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, every single day, do not go to bed without being stronger or smarter or you've gotten better. And I would probably say the third one, which is another t-shirt, it's suffer beautifully, right? Because, like, pain is inevitable. It's an absolute guarantee. And, like, you don't know when it's coming. You don't know how long it's going to last. And you don't know how intense it's going to be, right? But, like, you have a choice in how you bear what you suffer, right? And like we've said, there are a lot of people who have it a lot worse. So be grateful for this opportunity to feel this, because there are people who would die for this opportunity. And, like, just when you suffer, choose to do it beautifully.
I love it. How do people find you?
Brian Alsruhe, common spelling, right? I'm sure it'll be up here. But Brian Alsruhe is my YouTube channel. That's where the majority of my content is, all broken into playlists and stuff like that. Instagram is Brian Alsruhe. And that's pretty much all I do as far as social media goes. And NEVERsate.com.
Love it. I love it. You're awesome.